Hello friends, 7.21 is upon us, and as a result, I have some tips for recalibration. And actually, it's better than tips for recalibration. I was originally going to make a video on top heroes to recalibrate with in each of the roles, but then Valve announced at the major that there's going to be a patch along with the recalibration, and it's here. It's 7.21. Lots of heroes have been changed. Probably the same heroes that were strong aren't necessarily going to be strong. In any case, you don't want to risk it. So essentially what this video is going to be is I'm going to lay out a general method for figuring out after a patch what heroes are incredibly strong and what heroes are going to win you MMR before anybody else does. Like, you can pick these niche broken heroes before they're actually seen in tournaments. And as an aside, it's not just me that has this method. This is something that, from talking to other top Immortal players, like, this is what everybody does to some degree. It takes a lot of time. It's definitely like something you have to constantly research, and as a result, that's like why it's kind of hard to be Immortal, because it's like a job, you know, for a video game. But in any case, like, I know a large portion of the Immortal population does this in some shape or form, even if they don't think like, oh, it's a method. They still do it. Like, they just naturally watch games. They naturally do certain things that I'm going to tell you in this method. But in any case, so the first step is you want to consider what your favorite all-time heroes are in Dota. Like, think back to previous patches. What heroes did you personally absolutely click with at one particular point in Dota? In other words, like, what heroes have you mained at one point in Dota, where essentially that hero was like your specialty hero? Maybe your friends would be like, oh, this guy's like this player, or are you going to play your Wind Ranger, or whatever hero it is. Like, no matter... essentially, these heroes are the heroes that, like, no matter what you would pick, so you might pick like random things between 5 or 6 games, but every other game or every like 3 games, you'd always go back to that one pick and you'd always do well, and it would always be that kind of like rock for you. Those are the heroes that are important. Those are the heroes, are the ones that I'm talking about. So you want to write those heroes down in a list, and this is why I have Dota Buff open, because you can like look at your heroes to see, like, for instance, for me, you know, Invoker, like, I like playing, but I clearly suck ass with it because 45% win rate, right? So, like, I can kind of look back and see, and look at these stats and get a feeling for, like, when these heroes were in meta and how I felt with them. Enchantress, like, this is one of my favorite heroes. Broodmother, Pudge, like, all of these heroes, I can remember points where that was the hero I was spamming. People knew I was spamming that hero. My friends would be like, oh, are you going to play your Enchantress and carry us? Like, there's all these things where it really felt like I mained that hero, and these are the heroes that I would write down, and Tinker as well, if I played mid. But in any case, like, go to your Dota Buff, write down your list of heroes that you remember you really clicked with in the ways that I mentioned, and then move on to the next step. Step number 2, go over the patch notes, or watch somebody who's not Purge go over the patch notes, just because if you watch Purge, like, the next patch will be out by the time the video is over. But in any case, think critically about your small list of heroes while going over the patch. What heroes hard countered your heroes? Are those heroes good? Like, did those heroes get buffed? For me, Pudge is my hero. Like, I love playing that hero, and Lifestealer is a hard counter to him, one of the hardest counters in Dota, and Lifestealer got buffed. That is a minus in my book for Pudge. What items are great on your heroes? If there are items that are core on your heroes, like Tranquil Boots on Pudge or Dragon Lance on Enchantress, check to see if those items got nerfed or buffed. Plus or minus, depending on, like, buffs and nerfs. Do your heroes benefit a lot from either experience or gold? If so, check how these calculations got changed. Do your heroes benefit from, like, level 7 to 12? Did that bracket of experience get changed? Or is that a hard time for your hero, and other heroes are going to be nerfed in that section, so therefore your hero is going to do better? Essentially, like, personally, what do you think the problems are that are preventing your heroes from being overpowered in your bracket? And scan through the list of changes to see if anything can benefit in solving these problems. Once you're done, rank your heroes in terms of how good you think they are with regards to the changes. It's worth noting here that you'll be totally blatantly wrong about things, and I can say that for a fact because that's always how it is. Even the best patch analysis, like Purge, I was just joking about him earlier, is going to be wrong about most things. And, like, these people think critically about the game. They do it for a living, and they will still be wrong every single time. But it doesn't matter. It's still important, and that's because of the third step. Step 3, wait. Do not play Dota. Go to Dota2ProTracker.com, and I know this sounds like an advertisement, but it's not. This site is just, like, easily one of the most useful sites in all of Dota. It's absolutely up there with Dota buff, and navigate to each one of your hero's pages. So for instance, let's say Outworld Devourer is my hero. You just go to the Outworld Devourer page. You can even search it up here, and what you want to do is essentially look to see if that hero is winning. And if there is somebody winning with that hero consistently, then you want to scan through and essentially find the player who is winning and navigate to that player's page, look at all of their replays with that particular hero. Like, you can go to Dota buff as well through this site, and just see what it is they're doing. Like, if they are, you know, they might have won with the hero once, but then lost with it 7 other times. And if especially, like, this is important, if you look at the player's itemization and what role they're playing that hero in, and it's the same as yours. Like, if they had the same theory as you, which will happen, then that's a perfect example of whether or not the hero is going to be good or not, depending on their page. So essentially, like, what you're doing is you're going to be using the pro players, you're going to be using the top pub players to lose MMR for you to figure out if heroes are broken or if they're bad. So a lot of the time you'll see, like, let's see here, we can go to cancel, won a game with Outworld Devourer. Let's see what he's playing. Okay, so he's playing OD. He's trying a lot of different heroes because the patch literally got released, like, you know, an hour ago. So he won with OD, he won with Invoker, he won with Shadow Fiend. So this kind of gives me an idea of Cancel thinks these heroes are very strong. We can even see that he picked a Shadow Demon. Maybe this was a mid Shadow Demon. Let's check this out. Like, does he think Shadow Demon is a good mid hero? No, he was playing off lane. Okay, so he was playing support. But in any case, like, you can essentially go through people's heroes, especially like if you see that they are going similar builds to what you would do, and find somebody who has a similar style of Dota and see what they're winning with and what they're losing with, and aggregate that with your list. Like, just combine everything, and if something is really high on your list of heroes that you want to play and that you are good at and you mained at one point, and you rank them highly based on the patch, you're essentially using pro player information to justify whether you were right or wrong about your analysis of the patch. And maybe you thought a hero was shit and it's actually good, and just make sure to keep that thing updated and use that to pick your heroes. And then, like, you probably want to wait like 1 to 2 days after the patch is out before you recalibrate, because like we saw with Cancel's page, there isn't that much information on what he thinks is actually good and what he's winning with, because there's only been like 3 hours since the patch has been released when I recorded this video. But this is absolutely what you want to do if you want to win. If you want to play, absolutely go for it. I would recommend doing it on a Smurf or doing party queue until you can get some information on what is really good. And we can see, like, 48% win rate, mostly played by, you know, Cancel. So Cancel is an Outworld Devourer player. So if somebody's going to have a good idea of how to play this hero right now, it's probably going to be Cancel. Maybe for a different hero, it would be a different player. But this essentially just has amazing information on figuring out, like, what's bad and what's good. But in any case, that's it for this video. That's how you figure out what heroes are broken. I hope you have some success in recalibrating. I hope I do too with this method. But in any case, thank you for watching. I do appreciate it, and I hope to see you in another video.